Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
With your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. We are broadcasting live on YouTube, that's loud, on X, on Roku, and Fire TV. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 25, 30 minutes or so. It's a Tuesday. You know what that means. We get a little bit of hockey with Rocky in the house. So we must talk about our non-ice sports prior to him joining the show in about 5 minutes. If you want to get in on the action, go to YouTube or X. It's super easy, YouTube or X.com/12OZ Sports. That's the mothership. And go ahead into that comment section, type in your thoughts, and we can put them live on the show. The social media handle, The Rome Show 1. That's The Rome Show and the number 1, X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. If it's a social media site, we have a handle for it. A charcuterie board of sports on this Tuesday, April 22nd, and we will waste no time getting right into it, starting with the best thing I saw on Monday, and I needed to show it to the people. It is Cam Camarella, the center fielder for Clemson University, while his head coach is in the middle of an in-game interview. Check out the catch that this center fielder from Clemson makes. Ridiculous.
Get out of some jams like that as well. You got to be pleased as King hits one a mile. And
oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow. Oh, my word. Cam Camarella says so no, good. Sir.
He is so good. He can do things nobody else can do.
Yeah, he can definitely do things nobody else can do. There's not many people that can do that. Shout out to Cam Camarella. Dude, first off, elite last name. So shout out to him for that. Secondly, elite athleticism. Unbelievable. And thirdly, and here's the biggest fallacy of it all, but I think Rocky, when he gets on the air in a second, is going to disagree with me here, okay? Because that was not the number one play yesterday on the main media outlets that I saw. And I said to myself, okay, as I'm watching this, and it's the number 2 play of the day, I'm saying to myself, what the hell could be better than Mr. Camarella essentially jumping higher than a half of the wall, backside extended? And you know what was? The Boston Marathon winner. And you know why? Because the Boston Marathon winner, the lady broke the record for the Boston Marathon under 2.5 hours. She ran 26.2 miles. And since Rocky is training for a marathon, I have a feeling he's going to tell me that he believes that the number one play should be the lady beating the Boston Marathon time. But I just said, I watched it live, kind of. I watched it again on Twitter. I watched it like 40 times on Instagram. And later on, I'm going, the number two play. All right, I'm watching it. And it's Camarella. I'm like, no way. And then the marathon person came on and I said, am I a bad person? Because I don't think that the marathon person should be the number one play. Should they be a top play? Yes. Should we celebrate that lady? Hell yeah. I just don't believe that anything really, truly that happened yesterday was better than that. But we will save that for the one and the only Rocky Romanella. One thing to get to before we let Rocky get in here, because he's going to have an opinion on this too, is I don't know if you saw this, because we talked about Nico Iamaleava, the former Tennessee quarterback, last week, and we had some interesting things to say about our disagreement with his stance on his NIL. Well, he has now since transferred to UCLA, but here's the catch, okay? The dude that was at Appalachian State that in the wintertime transferred to UCLA to be their starting quarterback has now since entered the portal and is transferring to Tennessee to be their starting quarterback. To me, this is the best depiction of the worst version of the NIL and the transfer portal. So you're telling me that it's logical that this dude that's been at Tennessee for 2 years and won as their starter as a redshirt freshman last year, it is better for him and his career, while also making $2 million, by the way. Let's not pretend like he's not making money. It's better for him to transfer to UCLA, spend the next 3 months getting acclimated to the school, the offense, all the new players. And then that kid who's already transferred from Appalachian State after being at Appalachian State for 3 years has now been at UCLA for 6 months. Oh, nope. See ya. Let me now go not just from UCLA and the Big Ten or whatever the hell they're in. Now we're going to go to the SEC and we're going to play in a top 10 program in the country. I just don't see how anybody surrounded with any of these two kids, more specifically the Nico dude, could say, these are really good life decisions here. We're really happy the way we're steering you. So to me, that situation's kind of a joke and the best depiction of the worst version of what goes on now with the NIL and the transfer portal. So I told you a lot to talk to Rocky about outside of ice hockey. So just remember, we got to get his opinion on the top plays. And we got to get his thoughts on NIL and transfer portal, and then we let him ride on the hockey. So without further ado, our favorite segment of the week on the day it is supposed to happen, which is really cool. We both struggle on getting that done sometimes. The one and the only Rocky Romanella.
Now, inside the glass, hockey with Rocky.
What's going on, everybody? You are inside the glass with Alexander Ovechkin, who will not only break records, but also win games.
What is going on? The Great Eight. Thanks for joining us today, man. I was that your first overtime game winner in the postseason?
No, but it was, I think, my 74th playoff goal overall, which is, pretty good.
That is unbelievable. How fitting, by the way. I know you are on the back end and you hear all the things that I have to say that I want you to talk about. But real quickly, how fitting is it? And we'll get to the Caps a little bit more later too. But how fitting is it that game number one OT winner goes to Alexander Ovechkin?
I think it's just great. I mean, he comes into the playoffs like, hey, by the way, everyone, I'm not retiring this year. And then I'm going to show up and I'm just going to go win this game real quick. So I just love his aura.
Let's show the people the goal real quick, Rocky, so they have something to look forward to. And then when we get back, you give us your thoughts on the marathon. Here it is.
This is what they call a tease.
This is what it's called, a tease. You can see him in front.
Ooh, there he is. Centerman will tell you, great face-off, and it's your wingers who score the goal. And as a centerman, you need great wingers to win face-offs.
17 is Dylan Strome, Rocky.
Oh, Dylan Strome, by the way, what a great year. Best year of his career this year, Dylan Strome.
Well, he gets rewarded in game one.
No, well, that's why he's playing with Ovi.
That is exactly right. All right, we'll get back to this. You talk to me a little bit about my rant, not even a rant, my thoughts on the top plays and so on.
So you said like it's play number 2, and I immediately just go, oh God, it's probably a dunk. It's number
That is so true, though. Like just like a traditional regular lob pass dunk.
Like just a dunk. Like, great. Just happens every day. Definitely top play.
That is so
Um, so I know that I think she broke the Boston Marathon record,
Not
but
like the
she
overall
didn't break
marathon
the
record.
world record.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think.
Okay.
Was it the world record? Because if
I don't know. I don't think so because I feel like if it was the world record, you'd also hear way more
the
about
men
it.
didn't break the world record. The men came within 5 minutes of the world record. But it was the first. The guy who won, his brother won the Boston Marathon, so it's like the first pair of siblings to win, I think.
Okay.
Um,
That's pretty cool.
and the Boston Marathon is one of like the most well renowned. Like it's the top. Like it's like the historical love because it's the first ever.
That's true. And just to give you the numbers and to give this lady her just due, because it's fantastic. 2 hours, Rocky, 17 minutes and 22 seconds.
Reckless.
It's a Boston reckless. It's a Boston Marathon record, not a world record. And her name is Sharon Lockety, if I said that right.
From Kenya, I believe. And if Sharon was a world record, I would be okay at number one. But because it's not a world record, Cam's got to be number one.
Wow, that is a beautiful stuff. I did not
It's
think.
not a play. It's not a play. It's
Thank
not
you.
the top play.
It's a moment.
Like it's a
moment.
great moment. Like give her. You know what? Don't steal. Like I actually think you're actually giving her false recognition. Like give her full recognition for the moment. Don't give it like, oh, we'll just give her the top play. And that's because you didn't even give her a segment.
That's exactly right.
So
That might be
I'm
the best
actually in
point
on
you made
Cam.
there.
I mean, the dude cleared the fence.
Yeah, and just so everybody's aware of what Rocky and I are talking about right now, I'll throw it up with no volume on the screen. Watch this catch from the center fielder from Clemson, rated the number 2 play last night, and I just couldn't get on board.
What was Nimmo's highway robbery from the other night? Did he probably didn't even crack the top 10?
I think it was like number 6.
Yeah. Fence robbing is more commonplace than dunks are anyway. So
yeah, I guess so. And by the way, okay, I have a question on the board behind me. There's a lot you can write in on today. All right, so YouTube or X. Go to 12OZ Sports. Give us your thoughts. A, let us know if we're crazy because we believe that should be the number 1 play across every news market in America as a play yesterday. B, I have a question up on the board. I know Rocky's answer, and mine's pretty obvious because I drew Lord Stanley Cup there, but what trophy do you want to win? Like if you had the chance to go out and win a professional trophy, what trophy would you want to win? This is a topic I really want to get into this at some point later on in this week because I've been hearing a lot of this conversation, and Rocky, as somebody that can attest to this, will talk about how hard it is to win Lord Stanley Cup. Obvious or more notably, people will say that it's the hardest championship trophy to win. So I want some people's thoughts on that, Rocky.
I mean, listen, it has to be just go put your presence in the same room as the Stanley Cup, and you can feel it. You know, like you can feel it. It's not a trophy that's remade every year.
Right.
I mean, it's not remade. You have to pass it down. You don't even get to keep it.
Right. Yeah.
But you get one day. You get 24 hours as a player outside of the celebration. I mean, that is how distant it is. I mean, your name gets to stay on it forever.
Yeah.
Right? You could go, I mean, so it's more than just winning it for yourself. You win it for your family.
Yeah,
Your
and
family's legacy is etched in the cup forever.
Yeah. There's got to be no trophy like that in the world, right? That's got to be the only trophy.
The first ever Stanley Cup that was awarded, the winning team, I believe, like the Montreal. I don't think it was the Maroons.
No.
It was something ridiculous.
Reckless.
But they put their names in the center of the cup.
Oh, interesting.
And that, kind of like where this tradition started. But I mean, think about that. I mean, over 130 years ago.
Yeah.
Their names are still there in the original cup.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that thing hasn't gotten lost, broken. Like, it's just like, it's crazy to me. Now I know there's a keeper of the cup, obviously, but it's just wild that that's made it. I mean, it's crazy to me. Crazy. Let's
And then, yeah. So, and then, by the way, think about the legacy that we're talking about and we're celebrating. And then what legacy is the NIL going to leave on college sports? As I know you want my comment on real quick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going to go. We could go. I know at some point in time we'll get your thoughts on the NIL, but to me, it's just the bottom line is this. You see a team like Western Michigan in college hockey win the national championship. There are 0 NILs on their roster. You see the lack of parity or the lack of underdog upsets in the men's basketball tournament because NIL has opened the transfer portal to players using the lower level schools to jump up to the higher level schools, make more money, get seen, whatever the case is. And then you hear these stories where 2 quarterbacks are changing universities for apparently no reason whatsoever because one wanted slightly more $1 million and the other guy just didn't want to have to use his last year on sitting behind somebody. And it's like, is this what you want? Like, is this what you want? And do you ever see a Western Michigan again? Does that ever happen where a team wins a natty without having an NIL deal?
No, I think when it comes to football and quarterbacks, you're in dangerous ground because like you might just turn yourself into an NFL team who tries and like picks quarterbacks out of a hat and hopes that they become your franchise quarterback, like rather than just developing a guy over the course of two years. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, you can either develop the best talent from high school, or you have to go buy it and make him your starter sight unseen.
And it just
So
blows my mind to think that we are in a world where a 19-year-old dude thinks, you know what? I'm going to hold out. I'm making $2 million a year. I'm going to hold out for 2 more in college.
yeah, I know.
That's
And
wild.
you've got 3 Stanley Cup winning coaches who just got fired.
Just got fired. So let's roll into it because I want to talk about winning that Lord Stanley Cup. And I also want to talk about some of those firings. Let's start with the postseason, though, because I don't know about you, but I roll up to my TV last night. I'm locked in on Capitals, Canadians, and then from there, right? And I fall asleep before I could see the ending. I think it was at Kings Oilers was late last night or something like that. And I get on the scores and it's OT, 4 1-goal games. Rocky, how fantastic was the first 3 days of the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I think that the playoffs officially started last night. I don't like Connor McDavid is the best player in the league, voted on by the players now. So now they did the player pool last week. So literally 88% of players say Connor McDavid's the best player in the game, right? You open up the playoffs on Saturday, and Connor McDavid doesn't touch a TV screen until 10 p.m. on Monday night.
Right.
Like,
what are we doing?
And then plays in one of the most exciting games of the first 3 days.
Correct.
Right? Alexander Ovechkin just breaks your goal record. You've got Saturday, you've got Sunday, doesn't touch your screen until Monday at 7 p.m.
Yeah. Is that strategic?
I don't know what it is, because here's what I'm going to throw at you that no one's even realized. I didn't realize it till this morning.
Talk to me.
But the Stanley Cup defending champions have not played a playoff game yet. The Florida Panthers have not played the Tampa Bay Lightning yet. They play their first game tonight at 8:30 p.m.
And then you got
Winnipeg's already up 2-0.
I figured it out. I definitely figured it out. The problem you're running into is this first off is now an all ESPN venture, is it not?
No. TNT had Saturday and Sunday, I believe. TNT had Saturday. They flip-flop it. So
because I'm looking at Monday, Tuesday, and it's like ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN all up and down the schedule.
I thought that Saturday, Sunday were good. Okay. I thought that last night is what you expected when the playoffs started.
So now you're really intriguing me now here, man, because I did not realize this either. Like, I'm sitting here going, wow, this is awesome. Like, these first 3 days have been money, and I haven't even seen my favorite coach yet. And it's just, that's wild. So, but anyways, I think this is also why people love hockey so much, because it does, Rocky, at least in my opinion, live up to its hype.
Absolutely. I mean, I was locked in. I had both TVs on. I had Canadians, Caps, and then I'm loving the Winnipeg St. Louis series.
Good,
Um,
really good.
loving the Winnipeg St. Louis series, and
Goaltending matchup.
great. Oh yeah, it's Canada versus USA. I mean, it's fabulous. And we talk about, like, we've talked about other sports now, but I'm just gonna say this. There was a great tweet last night. Like, for any NBA player who like says that they like are too hurt to play, like, go look at number 25 on the Blues get absolutely buried in this video, and then, and then he's out for the next shit.
Yeah, and that's it.
Um, but I thought last night is what you expect out of the playoffs, right? A scrappy, up and coming Montreal team coming back from 2-0, drawing overtime, forcing the number one seed Caps to win and pull one out of there, pull one out. You've got the Western Conference champion who kind of stumbled into the playoffs with the best player in the world go down 4-0 to a team that they've beaten now 4 years in a row, and they come back from 4-0 deficit and then tie the game with a minute 22 left at 5-5 with
Yep.
McDavid, and then lose 40
Yeah.
seconds later. I mean, just so good. And last night, now, the playoffs have started now. To me, now that last night and now tonight, you'll see the Battle of Florida finally get underway. And like, now that you're in this 4-game, 3-game a night like spin for the next 6 days, like, you're gonna see the best hockey. You know, I find it hard to believe that Ottawa is doesn't just absolutely create an all-out bloodbath tonight in game 2 in Toronto.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you can win that series. So here's what we're going to do. Okay. It's twofold. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock, Rocky. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw our favorite sports music on. And I want you to just run us really quickly through the first series or not the first series, the first few days of the series, like you kind of just were doing, because I got to be honest with you. You probably don't realize, the common fan, because it's impossible to watch as much hockey as you do. The common fan probably doesn't realize how some of those scores get there. Like, if you don't do the research, the Kings beat the Oilers 6-5. Yeah, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Deficit. Yeah.
100%. So I just give us 2 minutes really quickly. You can take this left, right, center, and then I want you to obviously give me some Four Nations aftermath, because I don't think people realize that that's on the table as well.
All right, we're gonna go opposing of a book. We're gonna go east to west here. So
East to west and go.
Number one, Maple Leaf Senators. Maple Leafs kind of dominated game 1. I think if the Senators don't start scrapping it up and getting dirty and feisty and old school hockey, like, they got no chance. They need to play physical. They need to get the Leafs off their game. You got Panthers Lightning kicking off tonight. And I just think the thing swirling here for me is like that Four Nations aftermath, Matthew Tkachuk coming back, and everyone is on it on Tampa Bay. Sleeper team, deep pedigree, great coaching staff, even better goaltending. Like, I think that if the Panthers don't make that a bloodbath, I think it's like everyone thinks it's the Lightning.
Need physicality in the playoffs.
Need it. And just the little engine that could, Montreal Canadiens just taking the shape of Marty St. Louis. I think that what you saw in game 1 will be the entire series, and it will just fall to Caps' favor. Devils in Carolina, I gotta be honest with you, this is the one series I saw 0 minutes of, and it turned out the way I expected it to, unfortunately. And like, just for lack of a better, like, are the Devils gonna show up?
Yeah, I agree. It's probably gonna be a gentleman's sweep if they do get a victory.
No doubt. And then now let's go west. St. Louis and Winnipeg. For the fact that the Blues have lost, and for how good the games have been, really makes you like, wow, Winnipeg might be the real deal.
Yeah.
Now the series doesn't start until you come back to St. Louis.
True.
But like, I would expect the Blues to win at least one there, but you got to be impressed with Winnipeg's depth and their ability to score big goals in tight moments. Avalanche. Oh, God.
30 seconds. No, you're killing it. 30 seconds.
Avalanche Stars, I think, just living up to the hype last night. Back and forth game. No one ever had the edge. I've got it like on my notes. Like I need to watch a game there, like a full game, the same way I watched like full periods for the others because that series looks awesome. Landeskog should return in game 3. He was on the ice last night. Wild Knights, the Knights look good. Ooh, Vegas looked good in
Big pick.
game 1.
I gave people your picks
Oh,
yesterday.
Vegas looked good in game 1. So interesting to see if they can maintain it. And I mean, I've been on the Kings, excited for the Kings, and they did not disappoint last night. And they did show their youth by giving up the lead. And Connor McDavid showcased to you why he's the best player in the NHL. So all the script in that one looks to be written as another classic. So all in, I mean, you can't really be upset with what you're seeing so far.
Not at all. I don't think people realize how it's like, what, 4 years running now with the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers, something like that?
Yeah, and Edmonton's 3-0 the last 3 years. So the Kings have something to prove. By the way, the whole crowd sang the national anthem, the US national anthem last night. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Sick.
It was loud in LA.
Sick. It was sick. All right, that's Rocky Romanella's rundown on how the series have started to play out in the National Hockey League. Just remember, if you join us every Tuesday, you will get the much needed NHL rundown that you didn't know you needed until you heard Rocky run it down for you. Now, Rocky, the Kraken fired Dan Bylsma after 1 season, okay?
Yep.
And this is the 2nd straight year they've fired a coach, but this is a string of coaching changes in the National Hockey League, starting with what had happened in the middle of the year between the Bruins and the Blues and yada, yada.
Yep.
What is going on? Because I don't like this. In most, it's been happening in football a lot where it's like 1 or 2 and done. I don't really like that rolling into hockey. Your thoughts?
I don't think so either. I think it's probably when you look at who got fired this year, Dan Bylsma after 1 year, Torts after 2 years, Peter Laviolette after 2 years. All 3 of those guys have Stanley Cups as head coaches.
Right.
And it looks like Rick Tocchet may or may not re-sign in Vancouver. That's another Stanley Cup winner, right there. So you're kind of looking at it. You're looking at the landscape of the NHL, what you're seeing is to me. I just think it's a changing of the guard. I think the game is more modern. I think that the game is younger. And I think that the coaching needs to is probably the last thing to follow when the game gets more youthful. And I just think we're
Makes
kind of
sense.
seeing that now. That's what I'm chalking it up to what the players today need from their coaching staff. And if you're still stuck in an old school hockey world, like you're not getting the most out of your team.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that could be said across all sports, Rocky. I mean, I think the National Football League was the first league to really get on board with younger coaches. Then you saw it trickle into like college basketball and college football. And now you're really starting to see it everywhere where it's like, this is a different world of athlete now. You got to treat them mentally differently than you ever have. And the old school hard hockey guy probably doesn't play anymore.
In my opinion, and the number one head coaching candidate across every one of these teams that needs a coach. I mean, you got Seattle Kraken youth. Chicago Blackhawks need a coach. Connor Bedard, youth. Flyers, youth. Ducks, youth. Right? Rangers need to play their youth. Right? So you've got all of these teams that seemingly have really good young talent. Number one coaching prospect right now, David Carl out of the Denver University program. Head coach there, 2 national championship victories. He's won 2 World Junior teams, right? Think about Ryan Leonard, who just came from BC, is in the lineup for the Caps, right? Ryan Leonard captained those World Junior teams, right? By the way, who's coaching the Caps right now? Spencer Carberry, young first-year head coach. Who's coaching the Edmonton Oilers last year? Chris Knobloch, first-time NHL head coach, now returning back to the playoffs. There's something to be said for the guys that have played or coached the next group of all-stars in the NHL. And these players want these guys to be their coaches. That's who's getting the best return, from the players.
And we love Ovi on this show, so I'm going to use him as another example. But I mean, at 39 years old, you mentioned the Caps head coach being a first-time guy, young guy. Look at the year that Ovechkin just had. I mean, so it also isn't just about the new guard, too. It's clearly works with the old guard as well. That mesh of youth the exuberance, and probably the young coach can learn from guys like Ovechkin, which is huge too.
Well, I don't. A player has to adapt to the game,
Sure.
right? If I'm a 23-year-old phenom and I don't adapt to the game, by the time I'm 38, like I'm either still relevant or I'm a hanging on vet who's just people are waiting for you to just hang them up. And so like you see Ovechkin, who's still top in the league in goals. Ovechkin's game has had to evolve, right? Crosby's game has evolved. It's still relevant today, right? You've got McDavid who needs to evolve his game to be a championship game
Right.
player,
Yeah.
right? And so so your players constantly need to evolve with the game and they need to play better styles and improve their goal. Where's that for coaching?
Yeah.
Well,
It's a great
you're
point.
seeing it in what you get out and what your output is,
Yeah.
right? Like if I'm spending money as a GM and I expect an output and you don't bring it to me, and I'm young, I mean, I've either got to protect my cap, my future cap, or I've got to trade for it, and it puts me in a tough way from a prospect standpoint. Look at the Islanders. I mean,
Yeah.
the Islanders, their AHL affiliate had the worst season in AHL history this year. They got nothing at the NHL level. They got nothing. And that's a GM problem. So now I'm a GM who's got talent,
Yeah.
and I'm not getting the best out of it. I got to find something new.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. All right, Rock, final thoughts here. I know you have them on the Four Nations Cup. Give them to us.
A lot of news out of Four Nations. Charlie Coyle, big postseason interview. Charlie Coyle hurt his shoulder, got that cross check from behind into the net.
Who
It
do you
turned
play
into
for?
USA, turned into a staph infection. Boston Bruins
There you go. Thank you.
turns into a staph infection. Sits at home, really serious injury, gets interviewed, and he's like, I hate talking about this tournament. It's completely altered my career. The stupid tournament. I wasn't there to help my guys try and make the playoffs. My entire career has changed. My life has changed, right? This is a seriously threatening injury to my livelihood, all for that stupid tournament, is his quote, right? But you've got guys like Matthew Kachuk, who hasn't played a game since Four Nations, who's coming back, right? Austin Matthews got hurt. Quinn Hughes couldn't even play. Shea Theodore plays for Vegas, who he got hurt. So you're kind of seeing the negative impact. Connor McDavid will tell you that he thinks the Oilers were flat after Four Nations. Like, so you're starting to see now that the dust has settled and the excitement is gone, and you're into that moment of the year that truly matters, which is the Stanley Cup. Guys feel a lot differently about how that tournament went down, and I think it's a very notable headline here.
That is a really good point. Really notable day for you on the air, Rocky. That is 2 elite microphone sessions for you in less than 6 days. That is great stuff.
Just like the players have to elevate their game for the playoffs, so too do the analysts.
That is right. And you have done that, just that. You have elevated your game for the people. Rocky Romanella, thank you for joining us on this Tuesday.
See you next week.
We look forward to it. That's like the best hockey analysis you're going to get on the globe. That's just a fact. And I might be a little biased, but whatever. I'm supposed to be biased. We have the same last name. Anyways, thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. We hope you had a blast. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll talk NBA. We'll keep talking NHL. Major League Baseball. Oh, by the way, the NFL draft's on Thursday. So there's a lot to do this week, and you got to do it all with the Rome Show here on 12 OZ Sports. Andrew Romanella saying, have an electric Tuesday, and peace.
Thank you for listening.